Sure, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds great.
Hopefully, Oscar paid attention.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you're with Boomer, so Boomer, you hear the music, and, like, so you look over at Oscar, and you're like, oh, it's time to do it. And he goes, go find a secure place. So, as you begin lifting off from the planet, I mean, Go-Go, this thing is a piece of, like, a very large piece of metal for you. But you've kind of gotten used to it over the however many weeks or years or whatever you've been running uh, for the Westwind Corporation. So it's kind of like another extension of your body. And you guys quickly kind of we get the cinematic scene of you guys like flying out of the docking bay and getting clearance orders to go out into deeper space. And So you guys spend about 6 hours flying to far enough space away where it's safe to make a drill into warp space, and I will move everybody back to the other screen because now it's time to do probably the most fun and stressful part of this entire game, and that's roll navigation checks. So,
Hooray!
That
Yay!
is re-rolling characters.
so for those of you
Hey,
that don't
Jordan?
know, yeah, what's up?
When you do have a moment, we do need to update my token from the last page to the new token.
Oh, did I have the old token on
I-
there? Yeah, I will
I
totally
made-
do that.
I made people new toys.
I will totally do that. Yeah.
And,
When I get a chance. Okay.
and mine as well, on this page as well.
Oh, I didn't know you were actually going with that. But
Well,
yes,
this
I didn't-
token, no. Yeah, no, this is fine.
Okay. All right.
I forgot we were keeping this token for this.
All right. Cool. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Cool. I just had to break the VOD for the YouTubes. Cool. Awesome. So, it's time for some navigation checks. Hooray! So how it works is, before you make a jump, you decide how far you want to jump. The farther that you jump, the more difficult the roll is. Alright? But you can only jump a number of hexes equal to your total spike drive level, and you have a spike drive 2. So it is feasibly possible for you guys to jump 2 hexes at one time. It is slightly more difficult. I think it's a +1 on the difficulty. But it does mean that you get there faster, and faster means more time for weird shit to go down and possibly more money. So that's kind of, up to you guys. But the
Hey,
general...
I'm not flying this thing.
Yeah. So the ship is also equipped with a advanced nav computer, which means that any local or any known system, so that means jumping between any of the hyperdrive lanes that you see on the map, or between any systems that you see on the map, it means you get an additional +2 on your roll. So that's great. That's really, really good. From one jump takes a spike drive level 1 a week. Like, to move 1 hex, it takes a week for that to happen. For a spike drive 2, it takes 3.5 days. So you double your time in the amount of time that it takes you to get there, or you have your time in the amount of time it takes to get there. So the base difficulty is 7. Okay, so you'd have to roll at least a 7. But if you wanted to jump the 2 hexes, it would be a difficulty 8 roll. So Margot, that's kind of up to you. And as an expert, you obviously get your free reroll once per hour. This being the first hour, at least for the next couple of rolls, perhaps you'll get your 1 reroll. Or the second.
We've got
hour,
2
second
minutes.
hour.
Go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, go.
But we'll play it kind of by ear. If it's been a standard amount of
I know.
time between scenes, I may just allow the reroll, because that whole hour-long thing is kind of weird, because things can get weird. So, Margot, you are currently in Hex 308 with your Apollo-class freighter. Your destination, as you can see on there, is Hex 103. You have, I think, 6 hexes to get there. You could do it in 3 jumps at difficulty 8, or you could do it in 6 jumps at difficulty 7, and just... You still get there in a reasonable amount of time, because it's still reasonable, The other mechanic with doing spike drive drills is after you jump, you have to refuel. It doesn't matter how far you jump. It doesn't matter how many times you jump. You have to refuel. So if you jump 1 hex, you have to refuel. If you jump 2 hexes, you have to refuel. It doesn't matter. In the hyperlanes, there is a refueling station on each of those hexes that the hyperlane runs through. So you don't have to worry about running out of fuel if you only jump 1 hex. And that will obviously it takes about 6 hours to actually refuel, like get to the station, refuel, and then get back out and jump again. So you'll spend time in every system that you land in, essentially.
Okay, so just to clarify, the hyperlane. So like if I were to jump 2 to 306, and then 306 to 105,
yeah,
I would get a +2 on that.
Correct.
Jump?
Yep, because it is known
That second
space.
one.
Yep, it is
That
known
second
space.
Okay.
Yep, that's why the hyperlanes are there.
Sick. All right. So this is what I'm thinking, and you guys can feel free to say whatever you want. I'm thinking to do a double jump to 306, take the hyperlane to 105, and then do 1 and 1 to get us to our final destination.
I was gonna say, let's start us off easy and do 1 to start with, so we don't all die on the very first jump.
We can't die.
It is it is impossible to die.
Oh,
But this
yeah.
entire campaign could take a very different route.
I was going to point out the pilot's name is Go-Go. I don't see any reason why we should take any less than 3 jumps.
Go,
That's true.
go big or
Yeah.
go home.
Yeah.
So
I
then,
would probably express my concern about taking such large jumps, and Go would be like, "Oh, okay, we're going," and then just disregard anything I just said.
Sure. Yeah, and just to throw this in there as well, since 2d6 is the dice that you roll for a skill check, the difference between a 7 and an 8 is significant.
Yeah, but I mean, Go-Go is a great pilot.
Yeah, no.
And
well, this is
we
navigation,
have a great
but
tech just in
Go-Go,
case.
Go-Go is also a great navigator, so...
Yeah.
all right. So
It is in your hands.
okay.
This is what you made the character for.
It is. First jump, I'm going to make it 306. That's
Okay,
my first
so it's
plan.
a difficulty 8 jump.
Okay. So hold on.
Drum
And
roll,
then when
please.
it asks you for other modifiers,
Thank you.
when it asks for other modifiers, put
So
2.
attribute is Dex, right?
No, attribute is intelligence, because you're making
intelligence,
a navigation check. Yep. It is intelligence. And then your other modifiers is going to be 2 because you're using the advanced nav computer.
Assisted, I don't put anything.
That's where you put the 2, I think.
That's where you put the 2? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought it said other modifier, but it says assisted. Yeah. That's where you put the 2.
It'll say that after assisted.
Oh, does it say other modifier after assisted?
Oh, does
goes-
it?
Oh.
Yeah, it goes attribute, assisted or not, and then other modifiers.
Okay.
So I should put 0 for assisted, and then it'll tell
Correct.
me to put the 2. Okay.
It'll be the same roll either
Yeah,
way.
doesn't matter.
But
Either way. Cool.
No, it didn't ask me something afterwards, FYI, so I don't think that put in the 2, but I still made it. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you still make it. It would have technically been an 11. So yeah, you're perfectly fine. You get there, no problem. So you guys drill and you spend, since it takes 7 days to get over there to where you're going right now. So for a week, what do you all do? Just get to know each other? What does everybody do like for a week while you're on the ship? And if nothing is a valid answer for you, nothing is a valid answer. Like, a week really isn't that long. We can just montage the, I'm working out, doing my normal routine, Go-Go's playing loud music and eating, food or something. Whatever Go-Go
sure.
does.
Drinking coffee, maybe? I don't know.
Drinking coffee. Boomer,
Eating candy? I don't
passed
know.
out drunk trying to turn a wrench. Whatever. If you guys just want to montage
Every
it, it's
couple-
cool. But if you have something
Every
specific...
day,
Yeah.
probably once a day, I head over to Boomer and I'm like, "Hey, is it ready yet?" And then he says yes or no, and then I go away.
Oh, that's great.
Sure.
Yeah, I think unless anyone directly addresses him, Oscar probably just gets the lay of the ship and absorbs whatever is happening peripherally. He's not socially nosy, or at least he's not what he feels that would be.
Yeah, I get it.
Boomer during this time is just constantly tinkering and seeing if it's ready yet for Fortune and for himself, and if Gogo's interested.
Sure.
I mean, she needs something to put in her coffee.
I mean, yeah, it's up to you whether or not it's ready when it's ready. That I leave in your hands.
Oscar, you know what? Oscar notices that it is a popular topic,
Right.
but probably doesn't ask anyone what it is.
Sure. So
If that's the case, Boomer has a fresh batch every day for everybody.
sure.
Like,
Yeah,
hey guys, morning rations. Here you go. Make this last.
That's dangerous. How much is a ration for each person? I guess.
probably a flask.
Yeah,
Okay.
like per day it would be like 8-ounce flask or something.
So it's okay.
So
So
for
probably one day isn't enough to get sloshed on, but
No, it's like good enough for like an evening drink where you get a little bit
Okay.
buzzed. Yeah, you have to save up for a couple days if you want to get sloshed on it. I think.
so
then
for
that is-
clarification, what is it that they are talking about?
Okay. I don't know. Explain it to us, Boomer. What is it?
Okay, is this your character asking,
For the
or
no. For the sake of
For the sake of
The-
continuity.
the
What is
listeners and establishing what it is that you're talking about.
okay, when we refer to it, Boomer has taken to making a multi-dimensional hallucinogenic alcoholic beverage, which we call interdimensional hooch, or engine grease, via using the spike drive as a fermentation system. So because of the hallucinogenic effects, its addictive appeal, as well as the fact it is still a very much alcoholic beverage, he kind of rations out how much is made, as well as how it's divvied up amongst the crew. Which is why I stated earlier, it's about a 8 to 16-ounce flask that's given at breakfast to everyone to kind of hold everyone over towards the day. You can
Yeah.
totally keep it over for a multitude of days, so you just have one really sloshed night. But again, it's a hallucinogenic.
Okay, so Boomer is homebrewing using the spike drive.
Sure
Great.
is.
Boom.
I would love to see that distilling setup.
I mean,
I would even go so far to say that when you toured the engine room in the spike drive, you saw a bunch of apparatus attached to it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
What?
Like when you toured, like it's clear that like the engine room is modified in some way to do something
So,
else or to draw
sure.
some type of power or substance from the spike drive.
He would not. There's no way that even Oscar would be able to resist asking about that if he saw that
Yeah, for sure.
contraption. So I think we can say that he is aware that you're doing that. I don't
Yeah.
think we have to RP that out, but
Yeah.
he's aware that maybe some judgment is impaired about how the equipment on ship is being used, but he has no problem with this.
Yeah, it seems to be flying
Things
fine.
seem to, yeah, the ship seems to be flying fine. Nothing's rattling or vibrating in ways that he's never seen before.
Right.
So he's at peace with how this is set up.
So after your week-long extravaganza of montage, you
Actually,
guys,
I have a quick question. Has Giorgio said anything about this?
again, Giorgio lets you do whatever you want to do as long as the job gets done, and he doesn't come into any undue harm.
I think he and Oscar are pretty much in alignment on that point, at least for now.
Again,
Does Giorgio partake of said hooch?
Absolutely not. And probably there's a subtle like notice on the door of like the effects of metadimensional energy on humans. like on the med bay door. So like every time you kind of like walk by it, you get this glance of like, warning: metadimensional energy can cause, adult onset MES and et cetera, all this other warnings and stuff.
Nice.
But like
I love his passive aggressive.
it's kind of set up as like a notice, like maybe like a flyer that he picked up somewhere. It's clearly like not addressed to any of you, but like, yeah. And what he's saying is not untrue. Like, metadimensional energy can fuck you up, like really, really badly. Yeah, it's like space dare, exactly. Drugs are bad, kids. Okay.
I'm just gonna say that there's probably moments when Boomer's walking by and he just pencils in the word alleged.
Right. Yeah. And then like mysteriously it is replaced with a new poster like within a couple days, like once it's noticed.
Perfect.
Margot draws hearts all over it.
Sure. Yeah.
I probably just walk by, pull out my flask, give a little cheers to the poster, and take a sip. Put
Right.
my
Yeah.
flask
Yeah.
back.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, he's aware. He's not unaware of anything that really goes down on the ship because he's got full access to it, and he's kind of a member of the crew, but not really. But he's also your doctor, so he's looking out for your best interests in whatever way he can because he knows that arguing with you is useless. So yeah. So after your week, you guys enter the 306 sector, and the 306 sector is home to a planet called Moya. So as soon as you guys warp into or come through drive space into the sector, there's that weird like lurch that everybody gets when the ship slows down that fast. Not enough to like throw you off balance or anything, but like that weird kind of behind your navel pulling sensation. And immediately the sector net starts spamming to the comm system and your individual compads. All of like the news and the different things going on. But like over top of all the spam mail that comes through, there is a warning. And it says like in the typical like just big red letters warning, and it's got the little exclamation point with a surrounded by a triangle. And it says like travelers through the Aereo system, do not approach Moya. We are a sovereign nation, and do not take kindly to strangers. You may fuel at, and it gives you like the location of where you may fuel at, and then it says, and then you may leave. That is all.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah.
I can't edit Moya.
Damn it. Now
Eventually I'll find them all.
Now you can. Yeah, I must have only done like half of them, like an idiot or something. Yeah, there you go. So Moya is editable now. So yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. Like this is your chance as crew members to like gather information on Moya, at least what you can. But there's a very clear warning that that these guys do not like outsiders. They tolerate them in their space, but approaching Moya and attempting to trade is probably like if they don't approach you to trade, they probably aren't looking for whatever you have. And we can see there, because I'll just if not everybody's on it. Where is 306? So Moya has a corrosive invasive atmosphere. It's a temperate climate. It's got a human mystical biosphere, which means you can eat and survive on it. It's got millions of inhabitants, so it's one of the most populated planets actually in the sector. It's tech level 4 baseline post tech. And as you can see, the tags very clearly are xenophobes and outpost world. And they are very xenophobic. They play that a lot. So do you guys simply just refuel and take off, or what do you guys do when you enter a system?
Well, they certainly didn't roll out the welcome mat for us, and this isn't our final destination, so Oscar does not suggest they go on planet to test this.
Right, yeah. Like, they're not going to shoot anyone down, but you will be treated as fourth-class citizens.
I see.
Yeah, and like, no one will give you a room, and no one will, like, trade with you, and you'd have to go there for some very specific reason in order for it to actually matter.
Okay. Yeah, and I have no interest of going to the planet, so...
Yeah, and you guys are on a mission. But at
Yeah.
least now you have some preliminary information about Moya.
Time is money, man.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. All right. So, Go. You going to jump to 105 now?
That's the plan.
All right. Jump away, my dear. If you're doing all the way to 105, it is another difficulty 8 check.
But you get an additional +2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the correct way this time, I
add,
promise.
add it the correct way. Yeah, 11, no problem. So, you guys travel. Is there anything anybody else does for a week? Ignore that, the fact that moved.
What moved?
Exactly. So another week passes. It is now the 15th of January. Time travels quickly in this setting. And you guys move to 105. So I assume that it's more of the same. You know, you guys doing your space hooch and drawing stuff on poor Dr. Dr. Giorgio's flyers.
Mutual passive aggression.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And you guys arrive at 105, which is Vigdis, which is the Alistair system, and it contains the planet Vigdis. And as soon as you arrive, there is no spam mail that comes in. In fact, Go, you're probably in the cockpit when this happens. As soon as you arrive in Vigdis, your entire viewport screen is taken over by this warning message. And the warning message, minus the picture on this, literally just says this. Attention, quarantine notice. Location Vigdis. Reason, extremely dangerous alien entity. Threat level, very high. Authorized personnel, Barba Society personnel only. Attention, quarantine notice. And it just keeps repeating that message, like, over and over again until you, like, hit silence. And even when you hit silence, it actually is still, like, on the viewport constantly, but it just isn't, like, reading it aloud to you anymore. And then you're also sent, like, to the comm station. Whoever's sitting at the comm station is sent, like, coordinates to the nearest refueling station, and also with an additional warning that says Barba Society personnel will be on scene to ensure cooperation as you guys travel towards the fueling station.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm in the process of trying to do. All right.
So, this is kind of the point where Fortune, everybody knows who the Barba Society is, but Fortune, you know them fairly intimately, based on the fact that the Barba Society is actually where the original Claris group leaders came from. They were originally part of the Barba Society and splintered off due to unknown reasons and formed their own mercenary company.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Barba Society is kind of their motto, and they don't really hide it. They're a large faction within the sector, arguably as big as the Westwind Corporation, or bigger than most of the other, like, militarized groups. They're probably the largest militarized group in the sector, hands down. But their motto is kind of like, in fact, I think their motto is "Keep humanity safe." Like, it's just those 3 words, and that's, like, all over their ships and all over their flyers and all of that stuff. Their propaganda is all "Keep humanity safe," and it's just
Make
everywhere.
humanity great again.
Basically. And it's just it's in that all capitals, like, all capitals, no period, like, "Keep humanity safe." That's it.
No punctuation whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
Excellent.
So all of you have probably seen at least a Barba Society personnel before, or at least heard propaganda. They're a big deal in the sector.
Sure. Is would Oscar be aware of this of the species? Would he know of the cultists?
The cultists are the cultists, actually, roll me a
Why don't we check and see if he knows this?
Yeah, why don't we check and see how much
Maybe
you know about this?
Spacer.
Culture Spacer will work. Yeah, I'll let you use Spacer for this one. Spacer will get you different information than a straight up history check would.
Oh, sure. But
yeah,
I mean that the relevant information to Oscar would be the Spacer information.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what he would care about.
Yep. Difficulty is probably not a 5. So no,
he knows nothing at all about them.
Yeah, like you know who the Barber Society are, but the cultists, like, who knows? According to this, they're a dangerous alien entity. Like that's what you know about it.
Fair enough.
Cool.
It's okay. I'm getting the bad ones out of the way early.
That's what we say, right?
Got to clear the chamber.
So, are the rest of you as interested in finding out information about this, or are you just like, whatever, not our problem, moving on?
That pretty much is Boomer's philosophy at this point. Just nope, not our mission,
the
not
first
our
two
problem.
places you guys have decided to stop in are not great.
I probably take note, and I will ask maybe somebody from the Claris group later when I get back to
Sure, yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Be like,
you're
hey,
gonna
do you
try
guys
and-
know what's up with this and why we can't go?
Try and make a contact,
thing.
or link up with a contact and be like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
In fact, it's not like the Barber Society has a presence in this system ever since the Silence.
Okay.
For most of the time, like they've always been here. But if you're like trying to find information on why, that's a pretty closely regarded secret. So like that's finding out why they're here and why this place is under quarantine would be like the goal. Knowing that Barber Society is here and that they have a very large, in fact, they actually station their blockade fleet here, and I think that we see that. Like as you guys approach the fueling station, you can see your sensors. Whoever's again at the comm station or at the sensor station, you see that like at the very longest range of your sensors, maybe 500 ships that are kind of moving in and out. At like the sector level sensors. So it's just like it's just like a blob of ships that are kind of orbiting this one generalized area of the system, which could be assumed is Vigdis.
Yeah, I'd probably want to know why they're there,
Sure.
but I'll save that for later. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So do you guys go ahead and refuel up and make your jump?
I
Yep.
think so.
Cool. Yeah, I think that. Are you going? Sorry, what'd you say, Matt?
I think we've collectively decided we're going to avoid that planet. Yes.
Yeah, that's.
We're all like, no.
You guys are 2 for 2. It's great. So are you gonna jump all the way to 103 with the Haldis, the Divino, and the Eurymedon systems?
Yep. And that's still a +2?
Yeah, still known space, so it's a difficulty 8.
The suspense.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Ha.
So,
We
Wow.
didn't die. Yeah.
Like a champion.
absolutely.
Oh, you still had a reroll too.
Yeah, you're good.
I know, guys. It's fine. We're good.
Fine. No big deal.
And
Oh,
that's
space hooch.
the last time I was behind the wheel of one of these things, I crashed it into a planet and almost died.
Literally rolled the
before I
worst
assembled
possible
a
roll
crew.
you could do.
Yeah, but you're not me, so that's fine.
It's true.
I've got like pilot post-traumatic.
Yeah.
Some-
It's true. It's true. And the first time it happens to you guys, and you have to roll that 3d6 to find out what happens, all of you are gonna be like, "Buck, buckety, buck, buck, buck,"
Yeah.
because it's stressful, man. Cool.
That may not have been enough fucks.
Yeah, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe curse in some other language that I can't recall right now. Cool. So you guys, you fly over to 103, and as you enter, this is actually a system that contains 3 planets, as I said before. It contains Haldis, Divino, and Eurymedon. Eurymedon is your destination. It is the 10th planet in the system. So it's like the farthest planet actually out Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
That's weird. Is everybody else
Yeah.
getting the Roll20 server connection interruption?
I am.
Yep.
Sir.
Yep.
Okay, good. It's not me. I love it. Oh man, I was about to freak out. Cool. So we don't need Roll20 right now anyway.
Discord is still, knockwood. Discord is still doing
It's great, man.
just fine.
I actually kind of love Discord. So you guys arrive, and there is more spam than there was on Moya here. It's just flooding in because with 3 planets, in fact, Haldus, which is the 8th planet in the system, it has tens of thousands of inhabitants, and then Divino has tens of thousands of inhabitants, and then Eurymedon, your destination, has hundreds of thousands of inhabitants. So there is just a ton of civilization here. It also lies within the center part of this kind of grouping of like civilized worlds. So there is a lot of traffic. In fact, I think as soon as you guys come out of drive space, not only are you getting a lot of like spam, like hey, come check out our shop on Divino or whatever, but you're also getting like a lot of like radio chatter from like what are essentially space truckers, right? Like they're just using the equivalent of a CB radio, so that they're kind of on an open channel, and you gotta have to kind of filter out the bullshit to figure out what's going on. Go, you're probably pretty fluent in space trucker. It's almost its own language. So like you can pick up like what's going on.
Yeah, and I love talking to these guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe you're just like chatting it up, and they're like, it's Go, and you maybe some of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
These space trucker dudes. And so when you guys arrive, this is the first point at which you guys actually will be traveling to your destination. So let's flash over to Boomer real quick. Boomer, where are you when you arrive in this system?
Probably staring at the star line.
Okay, sure. Like you're in the cockpit, like staring out the viewport.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would have timed it out that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
This
This is an RPG. You can time it out however way you want.
What was that?
I said this is an RPG. You can time it however you want it.
Yeah, I definitely think he, especially coming back to the system, it almost feels like he's coming back home.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you know the system fairly well. Would you have ever made any contacts on the planet Eurymedon, having been from here? Or at least a lot from here?
Well, typically I'm from, I got my training from Haldus.
Right.
So,
But Eurymedon,
definitely.
So Haldus is a planet that has heavy industry, and they get most of their supplies from Eurymedon, which has heavy mining. So it's a very symbiotic relationship, because the miners from Eurymedon ship a lot of their goods to Haldus, and Haldus is able to then sell said goods or make said goods to profit. So there's a good potential you would have a contact.
I definitely believe it, especially with the nature of his tinkering.
Okay, cool.
Just using raw materials to make stuff.
Yeah, okay, so do me a favor, roll me a culture traveler roll, and we'll see how good your contact is still on Eurymedon. No specific difficulty, just we're going to see how well you roll.
Alright, 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem.
Is this charisma based or?
Yes, charisma based. I heard the noise, but I don't see the roll.
I see it. It's a 6.
It's a 6. Okay, so it's not bad. You probably have a passing acquaintance with some of the miners or some of the foremen on the planet that you may be able to use at some point. Just make a note of that somewhere on your character sheet, because it might be useful to you. Who knows? So, what do you guys do when you arrive here? I think that Dr. Giorgio is probably like comes to the bridge where I assume everybody is kind of like standing, and he kind of like goes over to Gogo and he says, Eurymedon is located here. We made good time. Good job.
She goes, "Of course we made good time."
He just like nods and he flips open his like his data slab again and he begins to walk away as he's like typing on it.
Oh, ye of little faith. We've done this so many times together, and he still thinks that I can't make it there on time.
Don't take it offensively, Go-Go. Eventually he'll figure it out, and maybe we'll even get him to, take a sip of grace.
She just laughs.
Cool. So, do you just pilot over to those coordinates that he gave you for your meet on?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So it takes from one region to another. It takes 48 hours. So it takes another 2 days to get to Yuri Meton. So you guys are in normal space now, and there are quite a few like spams and like different things coming out. There's quite a few like job postings. Maybe you guys get one like kind of congruently where it's like a video message and it says, "Hey, haven't you always wanted to be a miner on Yuri Meton? We have the best benefits and the greatest pay and some of the safest environments." And it shows like it's one of these advertisements for these miners all like smiling and like one of them's got like an arm around the shoulder of like two guys and they all have their little headlamps on, and they're all smiling. They're like covered in like kind of like this soot, but their teeth are like pure white. They're clearly like models who got painted up like with soot on them, not actual miners. They've never probably worked a day in their life.
Anyone ever played the game Red Faction?
Yes.
I can say that I have not actually.
Well, that's the feeling I'm getting from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I can invoke that feeling then. So you get over there and you get this message and then you probably get another message from like I think that like as you're within a couple hours of the planet, and you've been like taking turns like watch and sleeping and whatever, you get another video message, and it's like your typical like corporate propaganda message, and it's like Daybreak Enterprises, brought to you by or bringer of the greatest armatures that this sector has ever seen. And it shows like a picture of like these factories that are building these robots, and then it like flashes to some still images of like these personality robots like babysitting and like watching kids and all this other stuff, and in these very like kind of picturesque environments, and it says be sure to get your next personality armature from Daybreak Enterprises, and then it kind of cuts out as you guys approach the planet. And as you guys approach the planet, we see Yuri Meton. Oh, I know what happened. I gotta restart this Roll20 real quick because it is currently not logged in because I had 2 open. Okay, cool. Let me do something real quick. Yeah, because what happens is since I have to log into 2 Roll20s, it saves the last one I logged into. So when we had that little disconnect, it logged me into my GM account and wouldn't show anything real quick. We're going to fix that in just a heartbeat. Boom diddy. Boom diddy. Fixed. Yeah.
So while Jordan's doing this, I just want to take a moment to note that Boomer does have a data slab, but he wears it on his left forearm, like almost like a Pit Boy from Fallout.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. It's kind of like the exact same thing as Dr. Giorgio's, but he's in a knapsack that he carries around with him. Cool. So you guys get over to Yuri Meton, which is Perjev X, or Pervej X, I'm sorry. It is an inert gas planet. It's generally, because it's so far away from the sun here, it is cold. It has no native biosphere. 100,000 inhabitants, tech level 4 baseline post-tech. But I think that as you guys approach, you get within like short sensor range. You get tagged with coordinates to a small moon that orbits the planet. And it says, like on the message, it says, please make sure that you land, or please make sure that you register at the name of the moon is probably Yuri Meton 2. is probably the name of the moon, because they're not very inventive in this setting, or in this planet in particular. And it says, please do not attempt to land on the planet without guided supervision. And like you can see like a warning below it, and it's in like very, very fine print. So like you look at it and it says, Yuri Midon. It's like, and like if it were reading it to you, it'd be like one of those car commercials where it's like, Yuri Midon is a very hostile biosphere and is dangerous to those unprotected by exosuits. Blah 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 blah. And it's like rapid fire, really fine print underneath it.
Side effects may include.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Side effects may include lung depletion, like, you know, organs being eaten from the inside, kind of thing. So yeah, you guys get to Eurymedon 2, and you're pulling up to the spaceport. And as you enter, Eurymedon 2 actually has its own atmosphere. It is whether it be terraformed or otherwise, but it's very clearly like not like the technology nowadays wouldn't be able to produce something like this. So that's curious in and of itself. But hey, you know, what are you gonna do? Maybe there's something to investigate there. But as you guys like kind of come into the spaceport, there's not really a whole lot of like foliage. So you land on the spaceport and you land on the loading docks, and Dr. Giorgio comes out and he goes, "Well, we should probably go meet our contact. You guys ready to go?"
Hold up. And I just pull my pistol out and I spin the cylinder and I slap it back into the gun, give it a couple spins, put it back in the holster, say, "Yep."
He kind of just like, he gives you like just a blank face stare, and he just looks at you for a moment, and then he turns to the rest of the group.
Yeah,
Go rolls their eyes.
Oscar's present. He
Sure.
you know, he is going along with currently.
Cool. So yeah, so do you all disembark with Giorgio, and you guys head off. And as you guys like kind of disembark from the ship, and you're walking like along the long runway, a young or younger, maybe like 20-ish kid comes out, and he runs out to you, and he's very clearly like he's kind of like stuck in his teens a little bit, just with his facial features. And he approaches you, and he kind of like stands himself up straight and puffs out his chest, and he says, "Docking is 100 credits per ship per day." And you see Dr. Giorgio kind of like give the same blank face stare to this you know young adult, and he reaches behind him and he pulls out like a little like credentials, and he like flips it open, and it clearly has like the symbol of Westwind Corporation and his picture and like who he is. And the kid recognizes it, and he kind of like backs down a little bit, like he might have offended, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Giorgio. You can go right ahead." And Dr. Giorgio says, "Thank you." And he continues on, and the rest of you pass. The kid's just kind of like staring at like the group of you, because you're not a very common sight. Like all of you are clearly armed, first of all, which not a whole lot of people are armed on Eurymedon. But like
Boomer's not armed.
Oh, except for Boomer. Yeah, that's true. Boomer's not armed. But like in particular, I think how it starts is like Gogo walks by, and like he's just enthralled by like your hair as you walk by, like the green hair, and then he sees like the pistol and the cybernetic arm, and he kind of like goes wide-eyed a little bit. And then
I give him a wink.
sure, yeah. He just kind of like shakes his head like he can't believe what just walked by him. And then like Fortune walks by with like this. Do you have your rifle on you?
No.
Okay.
I just got my revolver.
Yeah, so you're like a drastic contrast to Gogo, right? You're like
Yeah. Gogo's all like new and shiny, and I'm like old and grungy.
Right. Yeah. So he kind of like looks, but he kind of like shrugs his shoulders because you're somewhat the most normal. And Boomer is, you know, somewhat overlooked because he just looks like a normal human with leather vest on. And then coming behind him is this giant, well, I don't know actually how tall you are, in a white mask that is clearly like humanoid, but not quite human.
Oscar is at least 6.5 feet.
Yeah, you're pretty
He's kind of a lanky. He's an odd looking guy.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the kid kind of like goes wide-eyed and like actually takes like a step back from you because then he sees like the sword on your back, as you walk by, and like if any of you turn around to look at him, he's just like he's doing that thing where he's got like one hand on his hip and the other hand behind his head like scratching, and he's just like, you can tell he's just like, what in the fuck just happened? So you guys proceed into the compound. And Giorgio turns to you guys when you guys get in, and he says, all right, I'll go make the necessary deals and get the men to work. Wait here. I'll be back. And,
So where are we now?
You guys are kind of in the compound in, like, a waiting area. You can see that there's a couple other, like, space truckers here that are clearly here to pick up, like, materials. There's a couple of, like, open, like almost like a bank teller-esque, like, window where they're, like, you know, filling out requisition forms and turning them in and receiving payment and that kind of stuff. It's like a trade center. Think like Grand Central Station-ish, but maybe smaller.
Got it.
So yeah, Giorgio walks in, and you see him go up to like where these two like guards. They look more like bouncers because they're not armed, but they're clearly like security of some sort. And he goes into like this glass office that you guys can see through. And you see him like greet and sit down with a man behind there. So what do you guys do? Like, you've been in this situation before. Giorgio normally goes in, he makes the deal happen or whatever, and then you know you guys kind of roll out. But in the meantime, you're kind of free to do whatever you want. Your goal is to get him here safely, make the deal, and get him back safely, and you know deal with any issues along the way.
Yeah, I think Oscar's probably just keeping an eye out. You know, this place is new to him. These people are new to him. He's obviously he's watching Giorgio most intently because he's the money man.
Yep.
Like he is. If there were like a VIP here,
yeah.
like he is the one that probably requires the most protection.
Yep, absolutely.
Actually, Jordan, I'm going to reach out to my contacts that are here and see if I can find any other jobs that might be literally on the way. Like maybe something going from here to Sorgen via my contacts, like anything black market, etc.
Okay, sure. What's the name of your contact?
Let's go with. Let's go with Marcus.
Marcus. Okay. And what ethnicity is Marcus? Just English variant.
English variant.
Cool. Awesome. Marcus is English variant, and he works on Yuri Midon. And is he like specifically a black market contact, or is he simply just like a job giver? Like hey, I heard in the rumor mill that someone needs this, etc.
No, Marcus is specifically going to be my like raw material contact that I would have made from Aldous.
Okay, sure. Raw material contact. Cool. Save changes. Edit. All players. Cool. So y'all can see Marcus now.
Yay.
And actually, I should make it. Cool, awesome. So you reach out to Marcus, and how do you go about like approaching him? How long has it been since you've seen Marcus or interacted with him? Knowing that you just spent almost a month in space already.
I imagine it's been a little bit, but the kind of person that Boomer is, if he makes a contact, he's going to check in with them frequently. You know, even if it's just
sure. You guys occasionally exchange mails, right?
Yeah, it's stuff like that. Because, like I've established in Session 0, Boomer is very sociable. I mean,
Sure.
he chats. He'll just do small talk for no reason.
Cool, excellent. So I think that you have you have an email account for him, or whatever the equivalent is in this setting. It's probably still email, to be honest. you have an email account or whatever that you can send him a letter. Like, you don't have like a direct comm link with him because it's been so long, obviously. But you can totally like ask him for that and probably get word back before you leave for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach out to him and see if there's maybe some extra cash we can make on the side.
Cool, awesome, I like it. Gogo, what are you doing?
She'd probably saddle up to some of the other truckers around here and just kind of start chatting to them about their recent jobs.
Sure, yeah. So you're just kind of being like social with the truckers that are stationed or like waiting for the rest of their crew or waiting for a load to be done, because like that's the other place. Like this place is like where you come to hang out while your truck's being loaded, and then once it's done, you'll get a notification and you'll go fly away.
Yep.
Cool, absolutely. So Fortune, what are you doing?
I probably took a seat in that waiting area, lit up a cigarette, and I'm probably sneaking my flask in and out of my jacket.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon to see people drinking alcohol in here. It's a space trucker port.
Yeah, but I don't want anybody to take mine. Is the big
Sure,
thing.
yeah, absolutely.
So, and I've got the same kind of like relaxed look, but very observant. So.
Yeah. So I think about like 15 minutes passes, and I think that Oscar, you recognize, or like, because you said you've been observing Giorgio. You see that the conversation
he's probably been hanging around the door.
Sure.
Just keeping post.
You can easily observe that the conversation in there appears to be there's like an argument going on, but it's one of those awkward situations where like it's not really an argument. Like, you can tell Giorgio is like berating the other individual for something, but the other individual's like trying to be defensive about it, and like you can tell like he's like, whatever happened, something has clearly happened that has made Giorgio upset, and the other guy is like clearly like defensive, like, well, why are you blaming me kind of attitude. Just you can see from body language between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think like a few minutes of that go by, and Giorgio like comes out of the room, and he's like completely calm and like on the outside, but like you can tell like the way he's walking, like he's clearly agitated about something. And he comes out and he kind of looks at you, and he kind of like looks you up and down, and he says, "Well, we'll be going now."
So Oscar says, complications?
Yes, it appears miners cannot even handle their own problems these days.
What's going on?
Yeah, so like I think as you're having this conversation, like he's walking back to where the group of you are. Yeah, and he gets there. I don't know, Gogo, you can be there if you want or not. But he gets to like where the group of you have collected, and he says, "Well, it appears the miners have some sort of problem and they can't deliver on their promise. Trust me, that'll be one of the last times we deal with these guys."
Wait, what's the problem?
Are we still going to get paid for this?
Giorgio kind of like looks at you and he's like, "Well, if I can find another contact, maybe. If we can get the supplies we need, if you have anything to help out with that, that'd be great." But, and he kind of like, this is the first time maybe you realize that Giorgio only gets paid when you guys get paid too. So like, he has just as much investment as finishing the mission as you guys, because how else is he going to get paid? So I think that he like he gets paid, obviously, probably a significant larger cut, but he still makes money off of it, because that's his job. He handled the mission well, right? Like that's his job. That's what he does. And he kind of looks. He's like, "Well, I can say that I don't have any contacts on the planet right now, and whatever these miners are into, I don't think I want any of it."
But if we help them with their problem, then we can get paid twice. We're helping them with their problem and still doing our original mission.
He kind of like looks at you and he says, "Well, that's for you to decide. I take my cut from Westwind. Whatever you make on the side, as you know, Boomer, that's..." Actually, no, he doesn't call you Boomer. That's dumb. He doesn't call you Boomer at all. He says, "Nate, as long as you know, whatever you guys make on the side, that's your own deal."
Right. But that doesn't answer the original question of what's the problem they're having?
I think he's just like, tall tales and fantasies. Apparently they didn't have enough, and he like puts in air quotes. He goes, safety equipment to collect all the materials that we require. Apparently wherever they're digging requires additional funding, and he puts that in air quotes as well.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I think
I'm not helping
I
with
think
that.
at this point, maybe Oscar speaks up and he says, "Is there no way to salvage the original directive?"
Giorgio kind of shrugs and he's like, well, and he kind of like, he realizes that his air quotes may have been a little like vague. Like you can see that like realization that he's like talking in circles. So he kind of like runs a hand through his hair and he like collects himself and he goes, well, I guess the miners got run out of their own mine. Apparently they didn't have enough safety precautions in place to keep the bugs out. I don't know how bugs run somebody out of a mine, but hey, that's what they said.
I think you see Oscar tense just slightly at the word bug.
Yeah. I don't think Giorgio notices though. He's not very perceptive.
He may not, but
Yeah, the rest of the group might, but Giorgio doesn't. And then he continues on. And he says, "I guess they've got a team coming to deal with it. I don't know what kind of exterminators they use here on this backwater planet, but he says it's going to take a week for them to get here. And rightly, I'm not waiting a week for my materials. I'll go find them from somewhere else. It'll certainly it has to take me less than a week to find what we need."
Well, Giorgio, you do what you have to do. We'll stay on standby. Because honestly, I don't think any of us want to leave here with no job.
Yeah, he kind of looks at you and he says, "Oh, don't worry, we're not leaving without something." He's like, "Even if it's a half load, at least we'll get it back."
At that point, I'm going right back into my conversation with Marcus.
Okay, cool.
yeah, I think Oscar accepts this, and he'll probably wait some period of time before he asks Giorgio anything further.
Sure.
He doesn't know yet exactly what. I don't think Oscar has enough basis to judge whether or not leaving this in Giorgio's hands is going to be effective. So he's probably going to just see how things pan out.
Yeah, and I think that we talked about before. I think we talked about Fortune. Like, you're kind of on this mission, not necessarily as muscle, but you're kind of like here to handle business transaction as well, right? Like as that kind of front. Because Giorgio is really good at like showing up and being like, "I need the thing," but it's clear, and this has probably happened in the past before, that like when Giorgio doesn't get the thing, he's kind of lost. Like, he doesn't have a whole lot of like gumption to figure it out on his own, and you know, like maybe you have to might push him in the right direction. Like maybe if you go talk to the guy, maybe if you use your business to try and find something out, that kind of thing might help.
Quit reading my mind.
I'm sorry.
So because I was about to